Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Pokemon Showdown. So sorry, this video is a little late today. I didn't have time to upload anything today because I wasn't home. So I'm doing this really quickly so I can get this up today. I know I was supposed to upload this at 3, I'm recording at 3:30 because I only just got home actually. So I'm very sorry, but let's get right into this. I have a couple battles today. So yeah, let's get right into this battle. So they send out Altaria and I send out Pangoro. They Mega Evolve Altaria and go for Dragon Dance, and then I go for the Ice Punch, which does a lot of damage, but they go for Earthquake, which doesn't quite do half, and I take out Altaria with Ice Punch. So they go into Floatzel, and I switch into Staraptor, and their attack falls, and they go for Brick Break, which does almost nothing. They switch into Steelix, and I go for Brave Bird, which resists. Against which Steelix resists, so I go for Close Combat, which leaves them at a little less than half. They go for the Stealth Rocks, and I finish with Close Combat. Alright, so that's the end of Steelix, so they go back into Floatzel, and they go for Ice Punch, which takes out my Staraptor, so I go into Dustox, and they go for the Ice Punch, which does way over half, but I do the Quiver Dance, and they knock me out again after another Ice Punch. So there goes my Dustox, and I go into Probopass, which has an Air Balloon, and they go for Ice Punch, which obviously I resist, doesn't even do 20%, and I go for Volt Switch, and I switch into Pangoro. So they go into Darkrai, and I go for Gunk Shot, and they restore with leftovers. They go for Hypnosis now, and they have leftovers, and I lose a bunch of health because of Darkrai's Bad Dreams ability, and then that is how Pangoro goes out. So next we have Exploud, who gets a crit taken on him by Sludge Bomb, but I go for Boom Burst. Again, they go into Floatzel, I go for Boom Burst again, which knocks out Floatzel. They go into Chansey, which is a lot tougher to take out. So they go for Seismic Toss, and I go for Boom Burst again, which doesn't kill, obviously, and they kill me with Seismic Toss. So I go into Probopass, and I use Wish, and I use Toxic. So then they go for Seismic Toss again, and I use Flash Cannon, and their Wish comes true, which heals them. And then they go for Seismic Toss again, which almost takes me out. But then I use Pain Split, which heals Probopass, and then they go for a Wish and Flash Cannon, and the Toxic kills Chansey. So they go into Uxie, I don't know. And then I use Toxic, and then they are hurt by the poison, and they forfeit. I would have probably won that anyway, because I still had another Pokemon, which was a Kyurem. So yeah, I would have won that anyway. So yeah, on to the next battle. Alright guys, in this next battle I'm playing against Live 56, which aka Vulcan. So I start with Sand Slash, and I go into Dedenne. Tapu Fini uses Calm Mind, and then I use Thunderbolt, which is super effective, not doing half though. They go for Hydro Pump, which does 75%, but I heal with a Papaya Berry, and I use my Cheek Pouch ability. So they go into Togedemaru, and I use Nuzzle, and they have Lightning Rod. So I use Recycle and get the Papaya back. And I use Hidden Power, which Togedemaru resists. They use Wish, and I use Hidden Power, which they resist again. And they use Nuzzle, so their Wish comes true. So I go into Breloom, and they use Zing Zap. So I heal with leftovers, and they switch into Cresselia. I use Spore and put Cresselia to sleep, and then Cresselia cannot attack, so I use Swords Dance, and then I heal with leftovers, so they cannot attack again, so I use another Swords Dance, and then I am at 100% with leftovers, but Cresselia wakes up and uses Moonblast. So I use Rock Tomb, and then everyone heals with leftovers, has a little party, so I use Spore again, and I believe I use Rock Tomb next. So that puts them at 2%, and they cannot attack because of the sleep. So I use Rock Tomb, which knocks out Cresselia with a critical hit. It would have knocked out anyway. So I go into Tapu Fini again. So they use Ice Beam, which knocks out my Breloom. So I go back into Dedenne and use Thunderbolt, That leaves them at 21%. They use Hydro Pump, which knocks out the Dene. So then I switch back into Alolan Sand Slash, and they switch into Togedemaru. I use Iron Head, expecting it to be Tapu Fini, which is a fairy, so it would have done decent damage. I use a substitute, and they use Zing Zap, which fades my substitute. I use Swords Dance, and then they use Zing Zap again, and I use Icicle Crash, which they resist, but does over 50%. So they use Zing Zap, which does not kill me, and I go for another Icicle Crash. So I go into Ampharos, and they Mega Evolve Ampharos. And I use Iron Head, which does not do very much. They use Volt Switch, which knocks out Sand Slash, and they go into Tapu Fini again. So I use Hitmontop, who's a good little dancer there. They use Hydro Pump and get a crit, which does way over half. And I go for a Mach Punch after using Toxic, which missed. Or no, sorry, it didn't miss, but the Protective Mist prevented that. Anyway, I go into Deoxys after Hitmonchan or Top dies. Sorry, I use Seismic Toss, which knocks out Tapu Fini. So they go into Dusknoir, and I go into Swoobat. They use Shadow Sneak, which does a lot to Swoobat. So they go back into Ampharos, and I use Roost. So I use Psychic, which does over half. No, it doesn't, but now they're left at a little over half. So I use Psychic, which leaves them at 25, and they use Volt Switch, which knocks out Swoobat, and they go back into Dusknoir, and I go into Deoxys. So next, I use Spikes, because there's nothing Deoxys could do to this Dusknoir. Nothing it had would hurt it. So Ampharos gets hurt by the Spikes. I use Taunt on Ampharos, and Deoxys gets hurt by the burn, so I use Toxic, which poisons Ampharos, and Ampharos dies to the poison. No, it actually doesn't. Okay, I was expecting it to. I kind of forgot. Aggron has an air balloon. Balloon pops. They're left at 69%, which is pretty cool. So Seismic Toss, 38% on Aggron. They use a Low Kick on Deoxys. Seismic Toss almost knocks out Aggron with 7% left. Low Kick does almost nothing to Deoxys. I use Seismic Toss, which knocks out Aggron. So at this point, they kind of are, Ampharos dies, and they go into Dusknoir, and they start to mess with me. Vulcan does. So I use Toxic, because it's the only thing I could actually damage Dusknoir with. So I use Pain Split to heal me, which was pretty funny actually. So I use Taunt, and they can't use Will-O-Wisp anymore. So I use Spikes, because there's nothing I can do to this Dusknoir. So they use Earthquake. And I'm left at 25%, and I use Spikes again, because there's nothing I can do. So I'm left at 1%. Their Taunt wears off. Well, I have 1%. So I use Spikes, sorry. And they use Pain Split again. And they lose because of Toxic. This is funny. He let me win this time, but it was a pretty funny battle, so I thought I would include it. So next I have a special battle. Alright guys, for this next battle, I am doing Gen 1 random battles, and this is a really good battle, okay? This is one of the best battles I've ever done on Showdown. So let's get started. I start with Weezing, and they start with Bellsprout, and then I win off the bat because of a forfeit. That was a great battle. Alright guys, I'm back. This is the actual Gen 1 battle that I had. So this is actually a good battle here. This is Gen 1, so yeah, it's pretty freaking good. So I start with Eevee, and they start with Rhyhorn, and I switch into Hitmonchan, and they use Rock Slide. So they use Earthquake after that, and I use Counter, which fails. So I use Seismic Toss, which does 24%, and they knock me out with Earthquake. So then I go into Butterfree, and then I use Mega Drain, which knocks out Rhyhorn. So then they go into Mew, and Mew uses Blizzard, which is super effective. I use Sleep Powder to put Mew to sleep. They go into Electrode, and I use Mega Drain. And then they use Thunderbolt, which knocks out my Butterfree. So I go back into Eevee. They use Explosion, which knocks myself and Electrode out. So then they go into Dragonair, and I go into Flareon. So they switch into Vaporeon, and I use Hyper Beam, which gets a crit, and then I must recharge So they use Surf, which takes advantage of that, and I'm left at 28%. And they use Rest, which heals them. So then I use Body Slam, and then I use Quick Attack, and then I use Hyper Beam, which knocks out Vaporeon, and I must recharge after this. But they use Surf, which knocks out Flareon, so that didn't matter. So I go into Dragonite and use Blizzard, which does a bunch to the Dragonair. They use Thunder, and I use Blizzard, which knocks out Dragonair. And they go into Alakazam, and they use Thunder Wave, which paralyzes my Dragonite. I use Thunder, which does about 29%, and they use Psychic, which leaves me at 48%, and I use Hyper Beam, which knocks out Alakazam. So they go into Mew, which is still asleep, so I use Hyper Beam again, and they are still asleep, so I must recharge. So I go for another Hyper Beam and kill the Mew with a crit. So guys, that was a good battle. I thought I'd do a Gen 1 battle because that'd be kind of cool. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please do slap that like button. It's just a ton of support. I'm sorry this video was a couple hours late, but yeah, so hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.